We Jews are not always so good when we have some power or when we have some wealth. Sometimes we let it go to our head. Sometimes because we are stubborn and stiff-necked, we become a little arrogant. We become a little egotistical. We think we deserve maybe more than we actually do. I'm reminded of the story of the waiter who comes to two Jews sitting at the Jewish country club. And after bringing them their food, he comes back a couple minutes later and he says to them, "Is anything right?" This is pretty much how we Jews respond. In fact, much of the Bible is speaking to us when we have power and how we have an obligation to remember those who don't, those who are strangers, those who are the foreigners among us. Much of the Hebrew Bible is actually a challenge to us when we have power to remember those who have less. But we Jews, when we don't have power, I actually think it's when we're at our best. We are strongest in the midst of a crisis. We Jews rise to the occasion when our backs are up against the wall. That's when we Jews are at our very best. And we know the recipe. We know the recipe for coming together and responding to tragedy and suffering and crisis. And that is quite literally to come together. Right? Our synagogues are not called Beit Tfilah. They're not called houses of prayer. They're not called Beit Midrash, houses of study. They're called Beit Knesset, houses of gathering. Because when times are at their worst, because of a funeral, because of sadness, because of illness, because of anti-Semitism, we Jews know that we're at our very best when we can physically and literally come together and be with each other and comfort each other and console each other and inspire each other. That's when we're at our very best. But this last month, in the midst of our response to the novel coronavirus, to the COVID-19, we've been challenged because we can't come together physically. We can't be in the same space. We can't give each other hugs. We can't hold each other up. So how do we respond? What do we do? And I've seen the Jewish people in the last month rise yet again to the occasion. And I think we've seen it in the midst of remembering who we are. For the last 2,700 years, we've not really been known as the people of Israel. We've been known as Jews. Now, what does the word Jew mean? It comes, of course, from the name of the tribe of Judah, which comes from the Hebrew word Yehudah, which comes from the root lehodot, to give thanks. The Jewish people are the people who give thanks. Now, I want to nuance a little bit the Hebrew because it doesn't say that the Jewish people are those who are thankful, but rather it's an active verb. We Jews are the ones, lehodot, who give thanks. We say it out loud. We express it. And I will tell you, especially over the last couple weeks, what I've seen from our congregation, what I've seen from conversations I've had with so many people is giving thanks. We often use it in a different word. We call them silver linings. And boy, have I heard people search for silver linings. In the midst of all this, we're able to spend great time with our family. Some of us have learned how to cook and have come together over cooking. Some of us are catching up on our TV shows. Some of us are really seeing who's most important in our lives. Some of us have learned that we really need to go out of our way to care for those in need, and we've found such joy and meaning in that. We've found the silver linings in the midst of the dark cloud that is the novel coronavirus. I'm proud of you, Shaarey Zedek. I'm proud of the Jewish people. I am proud to be a member of this community known as Jews, those lehodot who give thanks. Now, this is actually a central Jewish value called hakarat hatov, recognizing that which is good. But I want to extend beyond that central Jewish value of hakarat hatov, of recognizing that which is good, because we are obligated to be those who lehodot, those who give thanks, those who verbally articulate that for which we are most grateful. In the coming weeks, I want to challenge you and encourage you. Though we may get down, though things may go up and down again, let's remember who we are as a people. Let's remember that we are first and foremost Jews, and that we have an obligation not only to recognize the silver linings in our life, but to give thanks for them. So maybe you'll take a minute right now, and if you're sitting with a loved one, you'll turn to that person and you'll offer one or two things for which you are grateful to them. Say it out loud, articulate it, verbalize it. And while they're doing that, if you're sitting in a room by yourself, maybe you'll think of someone who's no longer with us, a parent or a grandparent, and maybe you'll say a word of thanksgiving to them for all the blessings that they showered upon you in previous years. In this way, until we can come together physically, let us truly be Jews, those who give thanks for the blessings in our life, to each other and to God. And please, God, may the day come soon where we can truly and literally be again a Beit Knesset, a house of gathering, where not only spiritually but physically we can come together to support each other, to lift each other. May God bless us in the coming days, weeks, months, and years with health, with joy, with the wisdom and the strength, lehodot, to give thanks as Jews, as those who are descendants of Yehudah. And may God bless us again with the ability to come together, to lift each other, to support each other, to praise each other, to celebrate with each other, and to give thanks together. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will, and let us say together, Amen.
Amen.